All right, and here we are again. We are live with the second episode of our daily live stream, the Daily KNIME, where we show how digital transformation can help supply chain management professionals hands-on to have an easier and better work life. All right, today we're going to cover 1.5 mistakes, and I'll show you what I mean by 1.5 in a second, and we're going to have a look at an equivalent to Excel's sum formula. Are you ready? Then let's start with the intro. All right, so 1.5 errors. The first error just happened a few minutes ago because I thought I was streaming, but there's that little button in YouTube that says start stream, which I somehow forgot to click.
Oh no.
Yeah, well, this is all new to me, so I'm doing it again and take the last one as some kind of test or whatever. And the other mistake I made yesterday was I showed you where you can download all the example files that I'm showing you in this live stream, but I didn't show you how to import it again. So, am I pretty clever?
Ich glaube nicht.
I don't think so. So let's correct that right now. So if you see my KNIME screen here, you maybe don't have that many folders, but if you have a KNIME file, a workflow file, or a complete directory, they are basically different by the file type ending. A KNIME workflow has the file type ending of KNWF, whereas a complete directory like the ones that I'm offering you for free for download have a KNAR, and I quite honestly don't know what this stands for. But basically, let me just quickly show you how you can import these. You just right-click on your local workspace and select import. Look here for the file you'd like to import, and then you import it into your folder. You can import it into the root folder or in any other subfolders here. That's basically how you do it. Maybe you have found it out already yourself. But hey, these kind of things happen when you start to do a daily live stream, and I'm not very experienced in that. Well, all right. So today we will start with a little bit of a series, so to say, because we are going to cover maybe the, I don't know, 15 or 20 most important Excel formulas and how you can rebuild them basically in KNIME in your workflows. And you might ask yourself, why would you want to do that?
Huh?
Yeah, because the thing is, you would want to do that because of one small tiny thing that KNIME is maybe better for than Excel directly, at least if you're not a programmer. But I digress. And that's basically automation. You want to automate your Excel stuff. Just imagine you're doing a daily report. Isn't it better to do it in 15 seconds with KNIME rather than 10 minutes every day? These small amounts sum up. So that's what we're going to show you today. And today we're going to show you maybe the equivalent for maybe the most popular Excel function, which is the sum function from my perspective. And basically, we're more or less rebuilding what I have showed you yesterday. Just look over at the channel. If you have not seen yesterday's video, I also give you an intro about this whole KNIME user interface, what it means, how it works, and so on, and all this kind of stuff. So make sure you head over there. But today we want to basically work with the same files once again. All right, so let's look. We're here. Let's build it together. Yeah, that's here. So we want to start with importing our Excel files. As I told you yesterday, this is a non-destructive way of working with KNIME, meaning KNIME does not alter your Excel files if you don't tell it to. It just imports the data, works with it, in KNIME and then writes it to wherever you want it to. All right. I also told you yesterday that you should always label your notes. So that's what we're doing. Import base file. Boom. All right. Then double click to open the configuration window. And we're not going to use the local file system, but we're going to use a file system relative to the current workflow. So basically this folder here, data, just click browse. Here it is, and we just take the same example data set just as yesterday. Yesterday we, oh, wait a minute. Oh yeah, there it is. Yesterday we selected a specific sheet, but today we just, it has only one sheet, this example file. So today we select this option here to select first sheet with data. And we leave all other options as they are, say OK, and then press F7 to import these 70,000 data points. 10,000 rows, 7 columns makes 70,000 data points. All right, right click on the node, file table to see what we got. Yeah, looks good. We could also scroll all the way to the bottom if you want to. All right. Next is if we have a look here, or we can also see it in the node monitor when we just select that node, you see here the PO number, but the PO number is still an integer, meaning a number. That's not what we want basically. So we are going to make this a data type string because, as I said yesterday in the example as well, it does not make sense to do calculations with PO numbers, adding them up or multiplying them with each other. That does not make very much sense. And while we're doing it, we already renamed this along the way. All right, so to do that, we choose our trusted column rename node. With the extra reader node still selected, we double click to add this column rename to the workflow. Press F2 for labeling it, and then we say rename PO number, call and data type to string. Boom. And if you're wondering when this one is selected how I'm moving, hold down Shift and string and move the arrow keys, moves it around the workflow. All right, double click once again to open it. The only column we want to change here is the PO number column, and we just tell it to call it purchase order number from now on instead of PO number, and we make this a string value. All right, F7 for execution, done. If we now look at this, we see the small s here indicates that's a string. All right, the very next thing we are going to do is basically the same than yesterday. We are going to calculate a share. But yesterday we did some grouping before. Today we are going to calculate a share per purchase order number of the whole purchase order volume in our base file. And the whole purchase order volume is calculated by what? Yes, you might have guessed it, by a sum formula. All right. So what we're going to do here is once again we use mathematics. All right, let's use mathematics. And the note from yesterday, you know it maybe already, is the math formula node. All right, we just drag and drop it onto the canvas, and we connect these little arrows, outports and imports here with each other. But
Oh no.
forgot to label it. F2, calculate share per PO. That's what we want to do. All right, and how do we do that? Well, first of all, we divide the purchase order value by, and now comes the sum part, by the sum of the whole column called sum is the function we're going to need here. Double click it. And then the cursor automatically stands in these brackets here, is placed in these brackets. And now we just need to click the purchase order value column once again to enter it. And that should be already good enough, but we want to make these percentage numbers. And that's why we need to multiply it with 100. So we put it in brackets, multiplied with 100, and finally we give our column a specific name. We create a new column. We could also override some other columns, but that's not what we want to do. We just say share of PBO. All right. And boom, look at this. 10,000 calculations done in under a second. That's not too bad. All right, now let's export this little thingy here to Excel. So we say Excel writer is the node we're going to need. Just with the one selected, double click to add it to our workflow, shift and control and right arrow to move it, F2 to label it, write PO report including share to Excel. All right. We just open it, local file system, once again set it relative to the current workflow, browse, and I already have such a file here because I am a nice guy and I created the example files beforehand. And so hopefully I don't forget, but let me just quickly show you afterwards where you can get the example files. But here we just say share of PO. Boom, that's what we want to do. Now it says the file already exists, so that would lead to a fail, but we just choose the option override, and that should do it. POs including share is how we want to label our sheet. Everything else we just click auto size columns and we're done. And now this just takes a moment because what Excel basically is doing, it is now writing not Excel, I'm sorry.
Oh no.
KNIME is currently writing 80,000 cells to an external file format, namely Microsoft Excel. And that's why it takes a moment or two to do that. But while we're doing that, we're doing something similar than yesterday as well. So let's just do a group by node. As I said yesterday, the group by is the equivalent to the Excel pivot table, and we are going to do a sum here as well. So we want to group the PO values, Control B for bold, by date. We don't want to have this one bold, we only want the column name to be bold. We are so bold, aren't we? All right, let's double click on this to open it. We want to group it by the PO delivery date. So we have a daily line if you want to. And then we take the PO value once again over here. And here we have the second of occurrence in this example where we are going to use sum. Once again, the column naming should keep the original names. And if we now click F7, we have, you can see it in the node monitor here, we have our PO value by day. We're also going to write this one to an Excel file. Oops, that's the file, F2 to label. And we call this daily PO report. All right. Once again, relative to current workflow, browse, data, daily PBO. Boom, if it exists, you need to overwrite it. Daily PBO, that's how we call it. Select auto size columns. And that's it for today. Well, that's already, we have created these two files here. And just imagine you have these example workflows that we're doing here are quite small, right? I have only a few nodes, as you can see here, like we have 6 nodes in here, they're pretty fast, but just imagine these workflows grow immensely fast, which means just imagine you have to do a few more operations rather than doing copy and paste. You can now automate this kind of stuff. So I think that's pretty nice. And I also wanted to show you once again where you can basically download our files. Let me just go to the site. All right, here we are. Right here on procurement zen / the daily KNIME. It is also linked down in the descriptions below. Where's my finger? Where is my finger? Here is my finger, and it's in the description below. Yeah, there you can find a link to this page. Here you can find the episode and example files you then can use in your workflows. All right, so if you yeah,
Oh no.
quite honestly, sometimes I think sometimes I think of myself as a pretty clever guy, but
Nice.
maybe I'm not. So if you like this kind of stuff, make sure to hit like and subscribe here on YouTube. And we're going to see each other tomorrow for episode number 3 of the Daily KNIME, where we will cover some other interesting KNIME stuff to help you automate and digitalize your daily procurement life. Until tomorrow, see you then. Bye bye and take care.